I've got a really cute mug.
Hello, and welcome to I should say the members only stream, but it isn't the members only stream today. It's a free for all today. You're all welcome to watch. We are doing the Q&A. You are joined by me, Andy, FPL Teach Mode, and of course, the legend himself, Mark. How's it going?
Yeah, good afternoon. Slowly becoming non-legend, I think, as the weeks go by. Yeah, I'm all right. I'm off the fest this afternoon. I've had the kids this morning because my partner's working, so it's been manic. So I just came to get on camera. I looked at my hair and thought I'm gonna have to wear a hat. So I'll start this on quick because I've got a shower and shave before I go for fest this afternoon, of course, which you're not going to make this time.
No, I'm not there this time. I'm absolutely gutted, to be honest. I absolutely loved Fest last time. By the way, people are mentioning that you've got a really cute mug, Mark, because you mentioned that before.
Yeah, there it is. There it is. I was on air there. I normally try and get a football themed mug. This time I just grabbed one randomly, and it's one of my daughters. So there you go. Like, some cute bunnies that are a bit late for Easter.
Oh, love it. But yes, no, I know. I absolutely loved Fest last time. I just can't justify going to this one and the Gameweek 39 one. So
yeah.
The people that are going, you'll absolutely love it. Like it is absolutely brilliant when you're there. And it is. I know a lot of people get worried about going because they're going by themselves or they've never met people before. But everybody's so welcoming there, aren't they? And they're all in the same boat, and it is pretty awesome.
Yeah, no, it'd be really good. Yeah. I'm just trying to muster up some energy. I'll sleep on the train in, I think, basically. Yeah. But so Game Week 39. Tell people about that because that's going on after, right?
Yeah. So Game Week 39. So it's going to be members of the community from the north versus members of the community from the south in one big football match. I'm commentating, which I'm really excited about as well, and then we're all going out afterwards. So I think it's all raising money for Street Child UK, which would be great.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah, and also Street Child UK are going to benefit from many super chats today, right, Andy? And there's one already come in.
Exactly. There is one already come in. So basically, if you do any super chats today, all the money goes to charity. So all the money goes to Street Child UK. So if you send in a super chat, we will answer it. 100% we will answer it. And then that money will go. Although I'm not sure how to answer. Do we just answer them?
Yeah.
We don't have to click anything.
No. That's all fine. So Borat's already put one in now. Shall I read it out? I can see it here. Well, hey, he says, who would you captain this week?
He says, wah, wah, wee, wah.
Oh, does he? What is that? What does that mean? I'm so not down with the kids, am I? I do know Borat, I just didn't read. You're the Borat impersonator here.
Good start. Yeah, he's taking his money back for some reason.
Oh, no, damn. It's for charity, please. Right, who would you captain this week out of Mount, Werner and Salah? My heart says Salah, my head says Mount and Werner. I thought it'd be the other way around. I thought it'd be your head saying Salah and your heart saying Mount and Werner. That's the way I would put that. Yeah. I'd go the Chelsea boys. I am going the Chelsea boys. I think that, obviously Hall, but if you look back over his recent record, those hauls haven't been that frequent. His last one was against Leeds and he needed 2 pens to do that. I think his last haul before that was going back way back into the game week 13 or 14 maybe, but I'm not to say Salah can't really hurt Everton, but I think it's fair to say we're expecting a little bit of rotation. I think Salah will start, but I think also if he does start, you've got to expect him, Mane and Diaz, if any of them start, they've got to be one of the favourites. They've got to be favourites to come off in the last 10, 15 minutes, right? So Salah's probably going to get 75, 80 minutes, maybe less than that, maybe 70 minutes, right? So he's not going to get the full 90 either. So you've got to factor that in. Given that he got his goal, his last goal there in the last 10 minutes, those 10 minutes do matter, right? When teams get tired. So he's probably going to miss that period of the game. He'll probably get 80 minutes. And I think Werner will get 2 games. Mount might not. I do think Chelsea are less likely to rotate in this pairing than they are in the 36 double. So I think there's a good chance, having lost to Arsenal, they might pick strong teams in both, and therefore I think Werner and Mount and Havertz could play both games. Certainly Havertz you'd expect because he didn't start the Arsenal game.
Yeah.
So I would go with a Chelsea player. Particularly, it depends on your position as well. If you're already top 10k and you're loving your rank and you just want to see out the season, then you go Salah. If you're trying to push up in the mini league or trying to push for 100k or top 10k or whatever your target, you go Chelsea, I think.
So it's interesting. With those three options, I think I'd go Salah. I think I would
Yeah.
go Salah. I'd go Salah over Mount because I think Mount's going to be managed a bit in this double game week.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of his turn to be rested at some point. So don't get me wrong. I feel like he will participate in both games. It's just I feel like his minutes will be managed. Werner, I've always said I've got a bit of a thing with Werner. I'm not sure he's going to be what people are expecting him to be. But if it was, I think my biggest dilemma is between Salah and Havertz. So I'm pretty sure I'm getting Havertz this week. Then I think you've got a proper captaincy dilemma there because I think Havertz, is going to play both games, comfortably get enough minutes. And then do I think he's going to do more? It looks like he could be on pens if Jorginho's not on the pitch and Lukaku's not on the pitch as well.
That's right. It does look that way. Yeah.
And that just pushes it up a little bit more for me. So I think it's very neck and neck between those two personally.
Yeah, well, I'm going Havertz captain, and I probably would go Werner captain over Salah just because I've got to roll the dice, right? So it really depends on your situation. Obviously, the EO on Salah be enormous, but equally that can work for you if Salah gets a 2-pointer and Werner comes in, right? So it depends what you're doing.
And is Salah captain going to get us that much? Like in terms of, his EO is going to be above 100%, isn't it? I would have thought.
He's not going to get you any rank gain at all. All you're doing there is covering the EO to make sure you don't take a rank hit, right? So if you're pushing for rank gain and you're willing to take a hit if it doesn't come in, you go with the Chelsea boys. If you're protecting where you are, you absolutely go Salah, right? If I was in your position this week, Andy, I'd go Salah because I don't think necessarily this is the week to push unless you can get Havertz. But can you get Havertz? I don't know.
Miena Sidholm has sent in a super question. He said, "Hey guys, would you play Kulusevski or Martinelli this week? He already has Saka and Kane."
I'd play Kulusevski. I think his away record is really good, and I haven't got him on my free hit yet, but he is one. He's in Az's free hit. If Az is going to free, I think he's 80%. I think Kulusevski is a player that I might regret taking out for this week because I think away from home he's been strong. Brentford, I don't think will be naive enough to allow Spurs to counter on them very often. I think Brentford will play a sensible game and be deep. And I think if the game is like that and Spurs have to break Brentford down, then it's more likely to play into the hands of Kulusevski and Kane than Son, in my opinion. So I would play Kulusevski over Martinelli. The other issue with Martinelli, of course, is that he didn't start against Chelsea. Smith Rowe and Nketiah both scored. I think it would be pretty unlikely that Smith Rowe, well, certainly Nketiah I expect to start. Smith Rowe I would as well. So I think there's doubts over Martinelli's starting role at the weekend.
Interesting. See, I go the other way. I play Martinelli.
You're not in agreement with anything I say, are you?
I know. I play Martinelli personally. I own both as well. I'm starting both this week, but I would I play Martinelli personally. I think the fact that he had that rest, I quite like. So I think I would.
You see it as a rest, do you?
I do, yeah. I do actually, because I feel like that front four. I know we spoke before about the fact that Martinelli's probably nailed now, and it's Smith Rowe's going to struggle to get back in. But I feel like Martinelli's going to play in that game, and United just can't defend.
No, I mean, I think getting an Arsenal attacker, is absolutely a good idea because United will give up chances.
Yeah.
But you think Martinelli will come in for Smith Rowe then?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Potentially, or I mean, the other thing is, which we'll talk about in a minute, with your free hit. Never know, Nketiah might not start, and it might be Martinelli up top, and
he might not. But then Arteta has said some really. I mean, Arteta has almost said, "Oh, I haven't picked him enough, and now I am." And so if he then dropped him after him scored a brace, I think it would be odd. It would be odd. I mean, it's possible. Sure, it's a gamble, but I think Smith Rowe and Nketiah will both start. I think it's a winning team. He's playing United at home. If he changed his winning team and they didn't get the win against United, I think questions would be asked about his team selection again. And I think questions have already been asked of Arteta this season from Arsenal fans about should he play Lacazette as often as he does, etc. So I think he'd stick with a winning team myself. So I think that Martinelli will probably only get half an hour. That's my thoughts.
Okay. We've got so many questions coming in, by the way, so we've got to start racking through these. We're already 10 minutes in. God. Right, FPL Rank Chaser, evening. He is saying, evening? It's not evening, is it? Afternoon. He is saying, Havertz for free or Mount and Alonso for a -4?
Havertz for free, I think. I think if you get Havertz for free, you captain him. Then that's the better option. If you're still going to captain Salah, then maybe there's a case for Mount and Alonso. I prefer Havertz to Mount this week because he got the rest. I know we shouldn't.
Yeah.
Long term, Mount is probably the best bet.
Yeah.
But for this week, Havertz is probably stronger now. Plus, like you say, if Jorginho doesn't start, Havertz is on pens. We think there's a good indication that he is next on pens. So those two factors mean, I think, the Mount. And then that makes your mind up, really. I think Alonso's a decent bet as well. But if you're taking a -4 and Mount doesn't start one of the games, then you're kind of down, aren't you?
Yeah, and also we don't know the rest of your team. So it's always hard to say that because you might have, nobody else in defence, in which case getting Alonso in for the -4 might be a better shout. But if you can find that extra, is it 0.2 now? Because I think Mount went up, then maybe Havertz and Alonso's the way to go. That would be quite nice for a -4 as well. Skip Bayless says, who to sell? Do I sell Kane or Son for a Chelsea asset? Oh, is that my
Who to sell?
Sorry.
Yeah,
who to sell,
Kane
or Son?
Wow. I'd say Son.
Would you?
Yeah. I got this wrong last week. I mean, I had the opportunity to sell Kane or Bruno, Kane or Salah to get a United asset. I could have obviously got Ronaldo or Bruno. And the reason why I sold Salah for Bruno is because I saw that midfield slot as one I could do things with, as in I could look at getting Son back, I could look at getting KDB back. And so I think it's the same here. It's the same answer here, although it turned out disastrous for me. If you sell Son for Chelsea asset, you not only get the best Chelsea asset, in my opinion, which is Havertz, you also have a midfield slot then that you can move to KDB. Or Jota or Diaz, or or you can do more with that midfield slot. Whereas if you sell Kane to get Werner, where are you going from there after that? You're probably going back to Kane, aren't you? So you can't really do much with that slot, whereas you can do more with that midfield slot. Now, I got it completely wrong by doing that, and maybe it was a mistake. It certainly seems that way. But I still think planning-wise, that makes more sense. And I do think Havertz, of Werner, Mount and Havertz, I would say Havertz is the priority.
Yeah, and I like it. And I know, especially now we're getting into like such short-term planning, having those pen takers can make such a difference to your week as well. So if you keep Kane and you bring in Havertz as well, like you've got another potentially 2 penalty takers, but it does make a big difference.
Yeah, I mean, I always say, surely teams are not going to play to their hands and not let Son break on them and counter on them. I always say that, and it happens. Yeah. It still happens. So I'm saying Brentford will probably be too wise to surely let that happen, but I bet it does. I wouldn't be surprised. But that's another reason why it would be Son for me, because I do think Brentford are not going to be naive enough to let. They're going to defend deep, I think, and that's going to be harder for Son than it is Kane.
Ant says, hi chaps, Rudiger, Ramsey and Kane out for Laporte, Havertz and Werner, or for James Foden and Werner for a -4. He already
it's one of these. I hate these.
Yeah.
Rudiger, Ramsey, Kane out for Laporte, Havertz, Werner. Right, okay. Or James Foden, Werner -4. Oh, I see. Right. I see. Basically, so he's getting rid of Rudiger, Ramsey, Kane, no matter what.
Yeah, so he has to get rid of Kane to free up some funds, basically.
I think it's the first one. It's Laporte, Havertz, Werner.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Because those are the 3 players. I'm definitely having those 3 on my free hit. I like Laporte because he's up against a defence that have struggled on set pieces, basically.
Yeah.
So the Watford defence, if you recall last week, conceded to Janssen. And I did a look after that game at XG conceded from set plays, and over the last 6 weeks they're the weakest, right? So Watford have currently got a problem defending set plays, and City will have some set plays, and they've got maybe De Bruyne to deliver them. So I think Laporte's a good outside bet to get some attacking points this week. Havertz and Werner are probably the 2 priority Chelsea assets, I would say, attacking assets definitely. Yeah. So I prefer that option, particularly as it's a -4 for the other one. What do you reckon, Andy?
I agree. I mean, the 2 moves that I'm looking to make this week are Rafinha and Doherty out for Laporte and Havertz. So 100%, that's the one I would go for. I just think James is playing that right centre-back role at times, and obviously the upside is a little bit diminished now. And I don't think, I think if people were wildcard, and I don't know whether James would be involved, I think you'd probably be going Alonso.
Yeah, you gamble on Alonso, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Foden could be in and out. And obviously Werner's you've got Werner in both options. So I completely agree. I think Laporte, Havertz, and Werner would be the way.
Well, that's another good point on Foden, right? We do expect some City rotation in the midfield, in the front three, right? So I think the front three could easily be Grealish, Sterling, Jesus, right, for this game, because Foden definitely plays the European tie, I would say. So he's not absolutely nailed on to start either. So that's another reason why that first three is one of the weapon of choice. I think the first three.
Yeah. George Varghese says Kane or Werner on a wild card, or do I wild card with no Spurs assets at all? So I think we kind of covered this a little bit earlier in terms of think about your structure as well. Because if you're going for Werner and you use up all your funds elsewhere, can you ever move to someone like Kane again?
Yeah.
But it's what would you do if you were on a wild card now? Would you have Kane or Werner?
I'd want Kane long term. The only week I would prefer Werner over Kane would be this one. Yeah. After that, I definitely want Kane back.
Could you have Werner?
If I was going Werner.
Sorry, carry on.
Go on.
I was going to say, could you have Werner but leave the money in the bank to go to Kane next week?
That's exactly what I was going to say. I think that's what I'd do. I'd do exactly that. Make sure you got the money there to switch back, because they got Leicester, haven't they, coming up next? Is that right?
Yeah.
Let me just check my take. Right, Leicester at home, when Leicester are likely to be rotating for Europe, and Kane's record against Leicester is peerless, right? So I think Kane's captain next week, to be honest. 35, isn't he? If you got him, so
he might even catch a few price rises quite nicely as well. A lot of people are starting to think about moving off Kane. If Kane goes down, Werner goes up, you could be laughing afterwards if you kept the money in the bank. So that could be a nice way of going on one.
But look at Kane's fixtures. Yes, he's got a hard double with Liverpool, Arsenal, although he's got a good record. He's got a good record at Anfield. He always seems to get a goal at Anfield somehow. And he's got a good record against Arsenal. And then he's got Burnley, Norwich. So Kane could do anything. I mean, I wouldn't even rule Kane out of the Golden Boot yet. He's that kind of player who'll look at it and think, I can get 2 hat-tricks before the end of the... I think that he could do... We've seen him go crazy in the final period of the season before. Right? So I don't think you can afford to go Kane, especially for Werner, who at the moment is flavour of the month.
Yeah.
But could miss a few games that are running.
Was it two seasons ago or 3 seasons ago where Kane had like 7 goals in the last 3 games or something silly, wasn't it?
Yeah, he did that crazy thing. I think he had when Hull were in the league, didn't he get a hat-trick at Hull on the final day? And he got about 11 goals in final 6 games then as well, because that was Hull, I think.
Yeah.
So he went absolutely crazy that season. So he's got it in him to just like go mad. And like I say, even though the double on paper looks tough, Kane at Anfield, he always seems to do something there.
Yeah,
and Arsenal, well, we know he likes the London derby, right? Especially North London derby. So I don't think we're back against Kane even in the double.
Yeah. Paul Spencer says, "Hey chaps, would you do Son and Martinelli to Havertz and Mount for a -4?" And then he does show you the rest of his team there as well, which is looking very good, I must say. So what do you think then? Son and Martinelli to Havertz and Mount for a hit?
That's tougher, isn't it? If it wasn't for a hit, definitely. It's the hit that comes into. I don't think Martinelli starts. I've already said that.